Hi, my name is Mehindru, and I'll be speaking about the Greek and the Roman mythological character Dido. So Dido was known to be the founder and the first queen of Carthage. Carthage is located in modern-day Tunisia, which is in North Africa, if you didn't know where that was. There's actually a map of it, if you can see that. Sorry if you can't. So Dido was mostly known from the epic poem The Aeneid, which somebody is actually going to talk about in more detail. But other historians have spoken about Dido as well, such as Josephus. So the story of Dido was that she was born in 839 BCE to the name Melissa. Her father was king of Tyre, and her brother was Pygmalion, and her husband was Acarbus. And her husband was actually her uncle as well, which is kind of disgusting. So once her father, the king, had passed, it was his wish that the brother and sister had a joint heir over the land. But what actually happened was her brother, Pygmalion, seized the throne and murdered her husband / uncle, Acarbus. And here's a picture of him as well. So Acarbus was rumored to be immensely wealthy because he was actually the priest to Hercules. And it was also rumored that he had treasure buried all over the land, which is why Pygmalion murdered him. But what Dido realized was that it was too dangerous to live under her brother's rule, so she had stolen her late husband's treasure, and she wanted to set off to find a new land. She had also convinced other noble leaders of Tyre to come with her because they were dissatisfied with Pygmalion's rule. And this is actually how her name got changed from Melissa to Dido, because Dido translates to the wanderer. So when they had set off, they originally landed in Cyprus, but then they had crossed the Mediterranean and ended up in North Africa. So when they first got there, Dido bargained with the local natives there. She said she would offer the treasure she had for whatever she could contain in the skin of a bull. And they took the deal, the locals, obviously, because they thought it was ridiculous. They thought they could take advantage and that they could get all of her money. But what she did was she tore the skin of the bull into little strips, and she had created a semicircle. And in the semicircle, it was a hill, and then there was a sea on one side. So that's how the city of Carthage was created, and she became queen. If you have studied calculus, she's kind of praised in calculus. It's called the Dido's problem. It's called also isometric perimeter. You try to create or engulf as much of one area as you can in the semicircle. So she's kind of praised in math for that. And this is what Carthage was kind of supposed to look like. And then once she had become queen, she was put on the coin, and that's here. So this is kind of where the Greek story and the Roman story of Dido differ, basically in how she died. So I'll go ahead and tell the Roman story, and the Roman story is basically the Aeneid. So what happened was the Trojan prince Aeneas, he had a shipwreck on the coast of North Africa, and he had stumbled upon Carthage when it was being built. So him and Dido had ended up falling in love. And there's this whole story which somebody else will explain about them falling in love, and then Aeneas ends up having to leave to fulfill a different destiny. And so Dido actually ends up committing suicide. And in the Greek story, it's kind of similar. She also commits suicide, but the difference was that she was forced to marry someone she did not love, a neighboring king. And so that was why she committed suicide. But that's basically the story of Dido. And this is a picture of Aeneas and Dido. But yeah, that's basically her story. So that's it. Like and subscribe.